everyone, I hope you are all doing well. Guys, I read 4 books this month. This has been forever since I've ever done this, especially 4 books with none of them being audiobooks. So guys, I don't know what happened. Like the new year hit and I just wanted this reading high and I just kept reading and reading and reading. I think it's because I was hitting like a lot of good books, so it kind of encouraged me to read, but I feel like I kind of ruined it with the last book. But guys, we are going to be talking about all the books I read in January. January is my favorite time to read. I don't know why, I always read well in January. So let's get started because some of these are my new favorites. So the first book I have, guys, you've probably already seen my thoughts on this video. So hint, we've already talked about this book, but I have a very love-hate relationship with this book, and that is Fourth Wing. I feel like I am in the minority here with this book. It was okay. Like I said, very love-hate relationship. I felt like the world was intriguing. It definitely kept my interest as I was reading. Like there was never really a time where I was reading where I was like, wow, is this book almost done with? It very much kept my interest. Like, I could sit and read this book for hours, which that hadn't happened in a while. So it very much was a good read, but it wasn't until like after I finished it and I kind of got thinking about it. I was like, there's some things in there I don't really like. Again, I go more in depth in this in my book talk. Go watch it. But overall, I think I would probably give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. So if I would rate it just basically how I felt when I was reading the book, 4 out of 5. But if I were to rate it how I felt after I finished it and I kind of, you let it marinate for a while in your mind and you're like, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought it was, 3.5 out of 5. Still such a good book, guys. I think for me, it just reminded me of too many other books. If you want to hear more of my opinions, go watch the video. Next book, guys, this book I loved. I've heard so many good reviews about it, but actually got me wanting to read this book. I think it was Fairy Loot. They're on Instagram. I think it's called Fairy Loot, but basically they were advertising this book, and I heard some of the comments say, oh, that ending just killed me. And I was like, ooh, maybe this is gonna be a good book. Like everyone was talking about how weird and great the ending was. So I picked it up, and that was Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Guys, I love this book. It takes place, I'm gonna say it's a parallel universe, but it's like an alternate universe, but of a fantasy universe. It kind of has World War I undertones. Guys, I loved this book. I loved the character Iris. I loved the character Roman. I kind of felt the romance was a little out there, so I'm gonna spoil this book just real quick. I'm gonna post the picture down here. When the picture goes, you can unmute the video if you don't want to be spoiled. So starting now. So one thing, my only complaint with this book was them getting married, and I get what the author was trying to do. I guess she was trying to set it up for the second book. So first I thought this book took place over a period of months, and then I find out no, they just got into the war zone for a month and then they got married. So I felt like calling it enemies to lover was a little extreme because they weren't really enemies for that long. The marriage they just did, I was like, no. I get why the author did it because it makes the ending much more bigger. I kind of wonder though if you would just have them as just dating, if it would have been the same fact. I don't know, but that was my only thing with this book. Okay, and unpause. Okay, so we're back without the spoiler part. But it was such a good book. I love the characters. I felt like I wasn't reading a book. I just would read it and then be like, oh, I just read 50 pages. How'd that happen? And so I love this book. The ending got me. I knew at the end who it was. I knew. Okay, back to gotta spoil it again. Picture. There's the end scene where Iris is being dragged through the town and she thinks it's Roman. I'm like, it's not Roman. I already knew. I kind of assumed it was her brother, and I was right. My thing is why didn't they just put the gas mask on Roman when he caught up to them and then continue to run? I don't know. But then I guess there wouldn't really be a book 2. But anyways, guys, this book I really did give a 4 out of 5. I just love this book. I can't wait to read the second one. I'm kind of holding off till I read the second one, and the same with Fourth Wing too. More because, well, at least with this book, I know I'm going to love the second book. So I kind of want to wait a little bit because I know that whatever books I read now, there's another good book waiting for me. So I love this book. Next book I read, guys, this is also a new favorite of mine. I just filmed a video about it. You'll see in a few weeks, and that is The Unmaking of June Pho by Adrienne Young. Again, love this book. This book sent me into a book hangover. I haven't been able to stop thinking about this book. I love this book. This book makes me now want to run away to the mountains for a week. I love this book so much. At first I wasn't sure because it takes a little bit to get into the plot, so I wasn't really sure. I thought, okay, maybe maybe this isn't really for me, but guys, once the plot starts, it just sucks you in and you just cannot get out of it. It just grabbed me and I loved it. And like I said, I have a whole video coming up with more of my thoughts on this book. But guys, definitely this was such a great book. It was such a fun book to read. I love the aspect of like, it's kind of historical fiction, but it's also kind of fantasy. Well, it's more science fiction, I would say, than fantasy. And I loved it because at the same point, like, there's magic in it, but at the same time, it felt like just an ordinary book as well, in the sense of a non-magical book. I don't know how to describe it to you guys, but it's so good. Our main character, her name is June, and she starts seeing these things, and she knows there's kind of this curse that runs in her family. She's terrified of this curse kind of taking over her, but she is willing to fight this curse, and it's so good, guys. I highly recommend this book to you. My key tip to you is don't read too much into the magical aspect of it. You can't make sense of it. I tried, and it was ruining the book for me a little bit. So you can't look into it too much. You gotta take it for what it is. But highly recommend this book. I originally said 4.5 out of 5. It's like 4.5 out of 5 or 5 out of 5. Like, guys, I just loved this book. Sent me into a book hangover. I'm kind of worried that's not why I'm not totally digging what my next book is. My next book is, and I haven't really finished it yet, but I'm far enough into knowing I might finish it probably in January. Like, today is the 28th, I think it is the 29th. So we have still 2 more days in January, so I'll probably finish it because I'm already halfway through, and I can already kind of say how I'm going to feel about this book, but we'll still leave it open. Like, my opinion might change, and that is What the River Knows. As you know, I'm already halfway through it. I don't know. This book is not my favorite. Some of it is, like I said, I think because I'm still kind of in a book hangover, but some of it, I don't know. Like, the author does a great job with this intriguing premise of being in Egypt, and she has this mystery set up, and the characters are all interesting. The descriptions in this book is so rich. Like, the author really does do a good job to making sure you can picture it pretty well, and her characters are interesting. The plot is interesting. I think for me, though, it's just moving too slowly. It's kind of a mystery. I think it's just moving too slowly, just for me personally. There needs to be more. I think for me, it just needs to be a little more faster paced, because I find what the author does, and it's kind of peppy when authors do this, is that we'll have these big reveals at the end of a chapter, but then we go to the next chapter and we might acknowledge what happened, but we won't get the whole thing, if that makes sense. Like, there's some parts where it just ends and you're like, ooh, this is getting good, what's gonna happen? It's like, next chapter, we're jumping to this part now. And I get it. I think the author's just trying to give us hints of things, and so that there's gonna be a big reveal in the book. So I am still hoping it's gonna get better. Like, I feel like it is gonna get better. A lot of people did say the ending is great. So I think for me, just because the author is taking so long to get there, it's kind of making me less interested. Obviously, I can't rate it because I haven't finished it yet, but right now I'd say 3 out of 5 stars. But like I said, it might change. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a 4 out of 5 star by the end of this. But just, I think for right now, it just moves too slowly, and it didn't help that I have just finished a book that I really, really liked, and I can't seem to get over. Anyways, guys, those were the books I read this month in January. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!